One of our favourite dishes is stuffed marrow, and I thought I'd share the recipe with you today. Stuffed marrow is a quintessentially English dish. Although the immature version of marrow, courgette or zucchini, is popular in Europe and North America, it's far too small to be useful as the basis for a stuffed recipe. Only the full-sized English vegetable lends itself to this. Although I say vegetable, technically, like all members of the gourd or squash family, which also includes pumpkins and cucumbers, it's a fruit. However, it is consumed here as a vegetable, and quite a nutritious one at that. Despite being low in energy content, it has quite useful quantities of folate, potassium and provitamin A. It's also very pleasant to eat when well cooked, contrary to the negative comments of some so-called experts and food snobs. If you're watching this video in a country where marrow isn't readily available, you might want to try substituting another edible squash or gourd, for example white or wax gourd, which is widely grown and consumed in Asia. I must stress edible though, as some members of the Cucurbitaceae family are poisonous. Traditionally, marrows have been grown competitively in the UK by enthusiasts for generations, with the record held by Leicestershire's William Gibbs, who grew a giant specimen weighing 128 pounds or 58 kilograms, my total body weight. Today though, I'll be cooking and stuffing a much more practically sized vegetable. First you need to slice the marrow in half. And then this will need scooping out. Need to remove the seeds. That's all the unwanted part removed, which will leave you a couple of containers. The prepared marrow's now cooked in the oven. While the marrow's cooking, we can prepare the ingredients for the filling. So these are all the ingredients prepared now, ready to cook. We've got finely chopped onions. There's a couple of medium-sized red onions, a couple of cloves of garlic, finely chopped. This is the tofu, which is half a standard block of tofu, which again has been cubed. Then some Quorn, that's about a cup of Quorn cubed. We've got shiitake mushrooms, which are sliced. There's about 4 mushrooms there, depends on the size a little bit. and then we've got some thawed mixed vegetables, just a small quantity of that, about a cup's worth of mixed veg. So you've got carrots, sweet corn, peas. Those ingredients are going to be cooked first, but we've also got some red pepper, bell pepper, which has already been grilled, and that will be added along with a cup of pre-cooked rice and a can of tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, and that will then all be mixed together, and some soy sauce added. There's a tablespoon of soy sauce there, and then salt and pepper to taste. So first now I'm going to fry these 6 ingredients here. So I've got a small quantity of oil here in the wok, and I'm going to, it's already getting reasonably hot. First I'm going to fry the onions. I personally like onions fairly well fried, so they start to caramelise. But obviously you don't want them too dark. Once they begin to brown a little, then you add the garlic. If you add the garlic too soon, it does tend to burn. I've got this on a medium temperature, but you can adjust it as you go along. If it starts to smoke, obviously turn it down, but you want it reasonably hot. I'm using olive oil, personal preference, but any cooking oil would suffice. I'm using red onions for this, but you can use any sort of onion. Red onions give a bit more flavour. Just beginning to caramelise a little now, so I'm going to add the garlic now. The next ingredient to add is the tofu. And that's followed by the Quorn, which had already been thawed out prior to chopping into smaller pieces. the flavours beginning to merge nicely now. This is a good time to add the soy sauce. Together with some black pepper, you may want to add a little salt as well, but the soy sauce is quite salty, so you won't need a lot. Now's a good time to add the sliced mushrooms. And these shiitake mushrooms give quite a nice meaty flavour to the dish. While that's still on a reasonably high heat, I'll add the mixed veg. Because I'm using fairly small pieces of mixed veg, it was frozen but thawed, there's no need to do a lot of cooking in advance of that, because that will be cooked in the oven once we fill the marrow with it. But it just wants a little bit of frying ahead, just to soften it up a little. Now I'm going to add the chopped tomatoes, which will give us some moisture as well as some additional flavour. And then the pepper, the bell pepper, which has already been cooked, that's been grilled. And finally, a cup of pre-cooked rice. I'm using white rice. Obviously, to be healthier, you could use brown. I'm going to turn the heat down now and just let this simmer. So the marrow now has been baked for about 3/4 of an hour at between 200 and 210. It depends how brown you want it. If you give it a little bit longer and a slightly higher temperature, it will make the skin a little bit more edible. You don't have to eat the skin, but it's quite nice if you've tenderised that and can eat the whole thing. So what I'm going to do now is put the filling into the two halves of the marrow. Now The amount of filling varies obviously according to the size of the marrow. This isn't a particularly big one, so there'll probably be a little bit of filling over. You can either put that at the side on the foil sheet, the baking sheet, or you can put it aside for later use as a pie filling. But the quantity I've specified is for a reasonably large marrow. As I say, this was rather a small one, so we will have quite a bit left over. And you can fill it quite generously, and this would be enough for, well, it depends on your appetite, but for 2 or 3 people, possibly even 4, particularly if you have a larger marrow. But each half will certainly be more than enough for 1 person. So there we go. I've filled it quite generously with the filling, and I'll pile a little bit in between, and then what's left over I'll save as a pie filling. So now the tray goes back into the oven for about another 15 to 20 minutes. And that will just finish the cooking as the filling as well as the marrow. Stuffed marrow's a nutritious and really tasty dish, and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as we do. If you enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like it, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, perhaps you'd like to do that so that you can be kept informed of any future videos. Thank you.